25 years after the accident that shocked the world, the mere mention of the word Chernobyl still conjures up chilling fears of the risks of nuclear power. In Ukraine and other former Soviet republics, the effects of the disaster at Chernobyl are still being felt. The zone around the nuclear plant remains mostly devoid of human life. But far from bearing this legacy, Ukraine's government is now seeking to exploit it. There are plans to dramatically boost tourism to the site of the accident that many argue hastened the collapse of the Soviet Union. Moscow correspondent Hermant has this report from Chernobyl.
This is where the trip to the world's worst nuclear accident really begins. The first checkpoint, entering the 30-kilometer exclusion zone around Chernobyl, complete with a government guide and a radiation-detecting Geiger counter. Before too long, you are there, and the radiation detector tells the story. Here, readings routinely reach 10 times normal levels. Just a few hundred meters away, behind tons of concrete and steel, lies the remains of reactor number 4, one of the most highly radioactive places on Earth. It all begs the question, just who would want to come here? The agency that manages Chernobyl believes a lot of people do. A quarter of a century after the disaster, Ukraine hopes this nuclear cautionary tale can become a bona fide tourist attraction.
Just for people who are interested in it and want to see. It's interesting for them to find out. They want to see what Chernobyl is, to understand what happened there, and to understand what danger it poses.
Some 6,000 visitors a year already come on semi-official visits. They see a sarcophagus that covers a great nuclear mystery. To this day, no one knows for sure what is happening inside the destroyed reactor. That's just one reason environmental groups say it's far too early to measure Chernobyl's impact.
What you have is the nuclear fuel which was in the reactor, which was producing the electricity, which was just destroyed. It fall out of this fuel assemblies, and it spread all over, and it's kind of a mess.
The accident that created that mess had immediate consequences. This is Pripyat, a town just 3 kilometers away. 50,000 people lived here, workers from the plant and their families. A Soviet showcase, evacuated and completely abandoned. Even now, staying here too long can be a death sentence. But in the days and weeks after the Chernobyl explosion, hundreds of thousands of workers, such as Sergey Zaitsev, were sent to clean up the site. His life changed forever. First, there was breast cancer, then pneumonia, then heart problems, all starting within months of his work at Chernobyl.
No one at the time understood how serious it was. They even told us what happened there, but no one actually understood what it was. There was no specialist as such to tell us what had happened there and how it would affect our bodies. No one ever told us.
There is still widespread disagreement on the toll taken by the world's worst nuclear disaster. Some official estimates put the eventual deaths at about 4,000, but other groups say the real figure is many times greater. One thing that is certain, after Chernobyl, the USSR was never the same.
What happened here didn't just blow up a reactor. It also blew the lid off the inherent catastrophic design flaws of Soviet reactors and safety systems. In true Soviet style, the ruling Politburo tried but failed to hide the truth from its own people and the outside world. A flawed system, bound to fail, exposed for all to see. 25 years later, many view Chernobyl as an apt metaphor for the eventual collapse of the Soviet Union.
In 1986, as Mikhail Gorbachev contemplated reforms, the Soviet economy was beginning to implode.